Hello and welcome, Dr. Sarthak.
Thank you
Congrats,
so much, sir.
congratulations on your great achievement. INS is ranked 2, not a mere feat, great feat.
Thank you
So,
so much.
so how do you feel now?
Currently on cloud nine, sir. Everybody's congratulating me, and I don't feel that I don't understand. I'm at a place that I can choose whatever. It's the dream of any aspirant that even starts at the MBBS level. AIIMS is like the dream, and I also saw that the same dream. And then I got into Safdarjung, and I used to see the building every day, like it is just across the road. And now finally I'm getting in. It's a very big dream for that little child that saw that dream. So it's a win for him.
So finally you manifested it.
Yes, sir.
So it's a
Finally, it
process of
took 10
manifestation.
years, but I manifested it. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's start. Let's so you can you tell me about your journey of your MBBS and MD a little bit?
Sir, I started in the 20, I started MBBS in Safdarjung Hospital in 2014. Then
Mm-hmm.
immediately after that, I got MD Medicine and RML, and that I completed 2 months back only. And now I'm pursuing gastroenterology. I'm probably going to choose AIMS. So probably now I'm going definitely going to choose AIMS Delhi. And now with God's grace, I'm getting in my desired college.
Wonderful. So let me ask you, why did you take up gastro? I mean, when did you start planning? Was it an MBBS level or MD level? When you started as a doctor, did you feel that you would want to do gastroenterology? Or
I'm pretty sure that everyone that starts, they start as they want to be a cardiologist. So as an MBBS, everyone wants to be a cardiologist. But that was that concept I also had. But gastroenterology, one thing was very amazing for me that it is that branch that is not only theoretical. I mean, whatever we are reading in the theory, it's there in front of you when you put in a scope. So it's not. I also used to like rheumatology a lot, but then it we can't see stuff happening. And in gastroenterology, whatever you are reading, if you're reading about a polyp that you have read in Robbins or anywhere, and now you're seeing it and now you're taking it out and you're helping the patient, like it's very rewarding also. Like the moment you put in a scope and you stop like bleeding viruses, I mean, I don't think anything would be ever more rewarding to me than ever managing that. So that's just that it's a very physical. It's the tangible branch. I can feel, I can see, I can see. It's not just in the theory. It's right there in front of me, and that is the most amazing part of the branch for me. Nothing else. Nothing.
okay, that's the why gastro. When gastro?
When gastro happened in second year, sir. First year went in COVID and managing that. So second year, when endoscopy started again in RML, and I used to see the reports. Then I went into endoscopy room once, and God's grace, there was one senior that helped me a lot. I just assisted and I just saw in the endoscopy room. So that time I fell in love with the branch. So they were doing interventions there in RML and simple interventions like clipping, coiling, clipping that they were doing, and they even that felt such rewarding. Like the patient used to walk out of the your endoscopy suite, and that felt very nice to me. And just in the second year was the turning point for gastroenterology for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So let us focus now. So you just finished your MD, I believe, no? Just like
Yes, sir. 2 months
so,
max.
2 months back, and now you have just cracked the biggest exam possible in the country. So, how did you manage in this short time, or is it a short time?
Is it? Yes, sir. It is definitely a short time because I honestly, first time I gave the exam, INSS was just during my sent up. So I was not focused on INSS at all at that time. I didn't prepare. I didn't even know that there's an interview session that is going to happen. So luckily at that time also I made it through the interview session, through to the interview session, and I got a AML rank of 17 at that time. That gave me a good grip on the what is going to come. That was just a trial run for me. What's the exam and what it is all about. Had I not gotten till the interview session, I would have never known that there's a interview is how it is conducted and all. So that was my trial run, and then I finished with my MD exams with all my sincerity, and then I focused entirely on gastroenterology. The lucky point for me was that the NEET SS and NISS this time happened very closely. So I read my medicine till NEET SS, and then I stopped with my medicine, and then I focused on gastroenterology. And because the time period was short, so the memory was the medicine part was also very fresh in my mind. That is a lucky thing that happened for me this time. And Then what gastroenterology, I have heard previous talkers say that they had read Schlesinger from cover to cover, but it was not possible for me. It's not that I didn't want to, but it was not possible for me. So I had to literally pick up my fights, and I focused on the general part because the approach is what is missing, I think, from everybody, every MD medicine. So approach part to a GI bleed and jaundice that I read very diligently from Schlesinger, and then I read Pancreas and IBD. So I've read very selective Schlesinger. I'm pretty sure that it's going to hit me hard when I do my DM, but that is all I could manage. And then one thing I got to understand in the first attempt was that they're not going to ask me theory. They are going to ask me what it's the practical implication of it and what's the new thing coming up in that branch. So even if you have read Schlesinger from cover to cover, it does not guarantee that you will get a good seat because they are not interested in uh, how how much you have read. They are interested in how well you are up with the new things that are coming in. So I do feel that you have to keep your eyes and ears open in this exam. Any person with even remotely related to your branch, if he's saying that this is the new kid on the block, like a portal vein thrombosis is the hit right now. So had I been just an MD medicine guy, I would have never understood that a portal vein thrombosis is such a big deal in gastroenterology. But since the teachers keep on telling portal vein thrombosis and that new classifications are coming in. So I focused on it, and believe me, three questions came from Portland from if I remember correctly. And so I think keeping eyes and ears open more than being a diligent reader about the Bible of the subject is a much more rewarding than entirely finishing books and books and then thinking that it will be sufficient. It's not sufficient. You have to be very aware of the new guidelines about the pancreas, especially acute pancreatitis. They change guidelines here and there every day. So if you're not aware about the fluid management, and this is very important for us
Yeah,
also,
true.
so they change the guidelines that have changed. So I do believe that being updated with the guidelines and not reading the guidelines also. I have heard that people have also read guidelines, Bavino 7 also from page to page. Only the highlighted points that they've given, that is literally the entire PLD I know. The Bavino 7 entirely they have literally highlighted the points, and I don't know
Correct.
how they do it, but they covered the entire CLD of what you need to know. Even hepatitis B guidelines, they have highlighted the highlight bullet points only. If you jot down, there are only 20-30 sentences in the entire guideline, in the entire text that you have to
Correct.
read, but they are so high yielding that the situations that they turn in hepatitis B, especially that is she's a pregnant woman and now they are literally laid out your MCQ answers for you. Just you have to be vigilant about it. If you don't know, if you think that reading hepatitis B from even Schlesinger or going to a higher book, it won't help that much rather than reading the bulleted points in the guidelines.
Right, right. So, I mean, again, the question comes: what made you pick up these topics? As in, you said, no. So basically, what you said is smart learning is better than whole learning. So, smart learning. How did you make that distinction?
So I think that something came to me. I'm not going to say naturally, but whatever I've heard teachers say during the lectures, I've never heard somebody focus on hernias too much. So I won't read hernias in depth. But when I saw your videos, you yourself focused that hepatitis B is so important. And if you see the length of the video, you will understand which topic is important, which is not important. That's decided by the teacher itself. You have taught hepatitis B, I think, in entire detail. I don't think if I read any more text, I would get anything much more from what you have taught. So that makes you understand that hepatitis B is anyway going to be the star of gastroenterology and hepatitis C and acute pancreatitis. And this something I do feel that this is where the role of teacher comes in, because we as a student will never understand which is more important. But the teachers being on the other side, what they're dealing with every day, they will always understand that there's never going to be a paper that does not have acute pancreatitis in it. So
Exactly.
that helped a lot.
So, did you make your this thing was made based on notes or was based on memory?
Sir,
I mean, you just
I no no sir. I made my notes, but those notes were also very. I mean, I didn't have time to write everything down, but I had taken some from the notes that were available in Marrow. I had used them as my source notes, and then I've added a lot of stuff as a digital. marker on that. So that is how I managed in a little time I had. I didn't have a lot of time to focus on gastroenterology, but in the one and a half month, I could manage that only. And the issue was to limit myself to a source, because
Correct.
in this time, sources are not an issue. You will get any source anywhere, even if there are many different ways to get get a source also. So yeah, limiting yourself to a source and then revising it, that has become the more important part of this game, and rather than having too many sources, because everything is available to everybody. It's not like uh, some source is not available to some. That's why you're getting into this plan.
Okay, that's wonderful. So basically now the question comes down between your whatever lectures, video sources versus the book. Now
Yes, sir.
you have got probably the right balance. I mean, somehow. Would you care to explain to our viewers whether how to get a balance? You think the videos are more important or the textbooks? How do you get the balance there? Both you have to be a little aware of, right?
Yes, sir. Both you have to be aware of, but I do feel that watching the video and then going to the book is the best. For it worked for me, because for me, when I read, I think everything is important. But then when the teacher teaches, and then you finally get into the you automatically start screening the text.
Correct.
Need to know every mind, because they would have mentioned every statistic ever possible on earth in that book. You don't need to start with that. And because you start with that, you don't end up reaching to the point where it was actually important, where the fluid management was going to come in acute pancreatitis. You will never reach that. You will only be caught up in the epidemiology and what is happening and what is USA data, and you'll get. When you start reading, I feel that that was also important. But when the teacher teaches, they start with the most important part. What is the most common cause? What is the second most common cause? How it's scored, or the severity. So you also start, when you then read the text, you directly jump to that part, and I think that is much more
Correct.
important, because we are not as mature to screen the text ourselves, and the teacher teaches, then it becomes really easy.
Okay. So what do you think? Leaving that aside, now obviously I've spoken to you, I understood that there is a significant role of seniors in getting into this. Well, can you just elaborate on that? Do you feel that your senior would help you more actually? Would have helped you quite a bit?
So yes, sir, I'm blessed with a couple of seniors that have helped me through this journey, but and even my teachers. But one thing, there's a lot, and that but you have to find your own way, because yes, it worked for them. This what I'm telling worked for me, but they don't work for everyone. Everyone is
Correct.
not as. Uh, I'm just saying that there's no special mantra. Anybody can tell anything, but you'll have to find your own mix and masala of the what you want to finally go with in the battle. So I'll just say that yes, do listen to your seniors, because obviously they have a lot of knowledge, much greater than you'll ever have. But then find your own mix. It's not going to be some. The seniors did tell me to read the entire Schlesinger, but I this is my fight, and I could only manage this time. So if I had like gone through the entire Schlesinger, I would have not finished till now also. So
Obviously. You will realize you will probably see the same statement after 3 years when you finish your DM exams. I still have not finished Lessinger.
I'm not, because I'm not sure that I finished Harrison also to its entirety. I did. I'm not a great fan of Harrison, but then I couldn't finish entire Harrison, and that's where I burned fingers in NEET SS. So it worked out well for me, but then
Do that, yes, yes. So, what do you think? How was the exam this time?
the
I was it
exam
very
was,
difficult?
I
No, you've
think
written two, right? Now,
I have written
so
two, sir.
yeah,
Written two.
so how do you compare?
So I think it was this exam was a little bit tougher than the last exam, because the questions were of direct. They didn't have a lot of material given in the question. They were direct. This is the question. What classification is being used, or this is the portal vein thrombosis status, and this is the what class of portal vein thrombosis is this. So it was a direct. So you had to read you have to know the theory to get. You can't guess if it's given VP1, VP2, VP3, VP4. You cannot
Yeah,
guess what you have to
correct.
know what. So this was a little tougher exam, but I'll just say this: if I got through, anybody can get through. So I don't think that it's about the difficulty that will ever bother, because it will be difficult for everyone then. But
Correct. Correct. If it is difficult for you, it's difficult for everyone. Correct.
you cannot leave medicine behind. You have to know medicine to get into even gastroenterology. You cannot be so confident that I'll only read gastro.
Hence, it is called a super specialty. No? So you have a specialty, you finish the specialty, you're supposed to have a good grasp of the specialty, and then you move on to the specialty. That is the whole
Yes.
idea behind the degrees which you get awarded. So also, you must have understood that you will had endoscopic images as well as radiological images in
Yes.
your exams. How did you manage to get that experience?
So for endoscopy images, I there's a YouTube channel by the ISD Master Class, and they have a one video about the endoscopy, current endoscopy classification, something it's labeled, and that professor has shown. I think that was from PG, and they have shown a lot of endoscopy images and real time images. So not the book images, because we also compare with the book. So they have shown the real time images, and I do suggest for images part, do look at that. ISG Masterclass helped me also in the interview part also. So do go through ISG Master. Keep that source very close to your heart, because it is very good. Because these are actually residents that are answering the question. So these are just people like us, a couple of years ahead. So they are also answering the question with the same mentality as of answering to a senior. So that is what I think is required in this part. So that one video I will suggest to everyone.
Good, very good. That's a really good point you brought out. So next question would be, you have done your MBBS from Surgeon, then you went into RML. So you are actually a product of tier one colleges of the country. So the question I have to pose is, so there are a lot of other people who are from average medical colleges who wants to, who want to do better. And of course, you have obviously understood that a lot of other people also get it quite well. What do you think you could impart to them as to how they would want to become as much as you are? Like you said, anybody can get in. So how do you think that would be possible?
Sir, I don't think so. Tier one has to do anything with your preparation. I mean, yes, they do help in the patient load, but I think patient load is same everywhere in the entire country. So, and this is something we keep on telling ourselves, that it's about tier one and it's about not being in names and being in names. There is a lot of chatter about being about the INISS also. So that there are ways to there are some issues with getting into AIMS, and I don't, now being on the other side, I don't actually feel that there are any issues. This is something we keep on telling ourselves, and this holds us back in while giving the exam. So I just want to tell that there is not, if you are from tier two or tier three, it won't hold you back, and unless you keep on telling it to yourself as a reason to hold you, that will hold you back.
That's a really good advice. That's a really good advice. Thank you
But
for that.
I yes.
So obviously, how did you? I mean, since you have just finished MD past 2 months, working and
Yes.
studying at the same time, how did you? How did you manage that?
So working and studying, I developed the habit when we were in COVID times, and 1.5 month had passed, and we were still first years, and we didn't study at anything until that time, and then we had to submit our thesis, and then comes the third year, and now we have to like run with studies and work. So I had a habit at that time. I developed the habit of reading while working,
Good,
and
good.
that I carried forward, because I didn't stop when the MD exams ended, because I felt that it's not. I didn't want to do SRship upfront, so I did realize that it's not the end of the road for me, and that momentum is very important to keep it going on, because to leave this momentum behind and then to pick it up again, I think that is a much bigger battle, and I don't think I'm capable of fighting that leaving this momentum going on and then fighting again. So this helped me. This has helped me a lot, like getting after one after the other seat. You have to keep that momentum going on. The momentum of internship helped me to get into MD, because we're reading while studying, reading while working. That helped me a lot to get MD. And the same applied here also, because MD exams are were not easy at all. So that momentum, yes, that reading same amount of hours and for the 2 months, and that helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. So basically, when you actually distill up whatever you said, the preparation time has not been 2 months. It's been much longer than that, if you notice.
Yes,
That has
yeah,
also been a
that is your cumulative knowledge because I do feel that the interview is not going to test at all what you have read in the last 20 days or 30 days. They are going to test you on your skills that you developed from your MBBS days. They were asking about they had a epigastric lump and they were asking about how do you differentiate in retroperitoneal and peritoneal. And I'm pretty sure no internal medicine resident will ever read in the 3 years of residency this question, and there it is in front of you in the DM entrance exam. So it's about your cumulative knowledge. You cannot pinpoint your preparation time, especially at this stage. That I prepared in 2 months or 3 months. If I am saying that I did in 1.5 months, that is my final preparation. But my preparation for medicine and gastroenterology, I don't think I can pin it to a certain period of time.
that's overall many, many years actually. That's good.
Yes, sir.
That's good. So having come there, how was the interview? How do you feel the interview to AIIMS was?
Sir, interview, I just want to clear one thing that interview is not tough. I mean, they're not going to ask you very high-fi questions. And I'm telling you now, but I didn't know this. I was reading something about what French of stent needs to be put and this and that. And I don't know that even people doing gastroenterology know the answer to this because there's a lot of confusion about that. So you don't need to put yourself into that confusion. I did that, and that is something that is not at all required. They're asking very simple questions, but you can't go wrong in those simple questions. If you go wrong in those simple questions, I mean, they are not going to ever let it go. So simple things
Basic.
like epigastric lamp. What are the differentials? And the basic game is about differentials. As an internal medicine resident, I think that is our ball game, and to make differential, that is the only thing we ever do. So if you say the epigastric lump and you know there's a gastroenterology interview and then you are answering only a pancreatic pseudocyst, they will uh, they will like again and again ask you what are there any other differences, because you have to not only limit yourself to a gastroenterology. Yes, it's a gastroenterology interview, but they are asking an medicine resident. So answer accordingly, give differentials. There was a case of Bud Chiari, and I answered that there could be a possibility of a constrictive pericarditis or a right heart. That is what they were looking for. They were not
Correct.
asking me if I can manage Bud Chiari or if I what is the appearance or what is the spider webs, and they're not at all interested in that. They were interested if I can give them non gastroenterology the differentials as well, because they didn't want me to limit my thinking to just Bud Chiari because it's the gastroenterology and hepatology interview. So that is where I think you should answer as an internal medicine resident and be very confident about that they're not going to ask you they're going to ask you basic question which we have already know, but somehow we tend to forget thinking that this is a gastroenterology interview. They're not there to ask you very different. Yes, the exam is difficult. They are in exam, it's the opposite thing. They're asking specific classification and specific things that are up and coming in gastroenterology. But in the interview, you just need to keep your calm and know that you're internal medicine resident. You've already done your MD in medicine exam and you have passed it, and that is the knowledge they're asking. They're nothing asking high-fi there. And do watch ISG masterclass that I have told, because it helps a lot. You understand what they want to know, what they are actually looking for.
Exactly. That's good. That's good. So I guess I think we have covered almost everything.
Yes.
Congratulations again, once again. Great
Thank you
job.
so much. Means a lot coming from you, sir.
Nothing like that anyway, because it's not mine. It's obviously your achievement. It's only yours, and nobody can take that away from you. No one.
It's
So
a
with that,
cumulative achievements. I do feel that parents and family and your close one are the more ones who, and they are the ones that sacrifice a lot. And it's not we do the easy part, we do the reading, we do the studying, but to sacrifice so much that to let your loved one go for a couple of months and to not bother him at all, that is the much more of a sacrifice than reading and studying.
wow, great words.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
that. Thank you for that.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.